We are going to go over the 28-inch ice walk-behind scrubber. We'll start all the way up at the front here. We have two 14-inch cleaning heads on here. For you guys, we have the pad drivers. The way that we remove these is pretty simple. We can see these little plungers right here. Press firmly down on that to remove your pad driver. Take off the center lock to remove the pad. Clean the pad after each use. We want to make sure that we're cleaning with a fresh pad that's been properly cleaned each time when we start. Snap that back on in place. To put this back on underneath, you'll see there's no lugs on here. This stretches, so when I put it on the center hub, lift up, it'll snap right back into place. Right here, we have our side skirt. This is really just meant to kind of keep everything contained underneath the machine itself so that we don't have water spraying out everywhere. So just again, want to double check, just make sure you don't have some of the dust and debris that builds up over time. Clean that off, make sure that this is in a proper position before you start. Moving over to here, this is our dirty tank. As you can see, pretty large, pretty easy to clean out. We clean it out after we're done cleaning for each day. This is my little ping pong ball float. If you haven't seen it before, this is really meant to rise up as the dirty tank gets fuller and fuller. So we want to prevent water from getting into that vacuum motor. Make sure this is clean. If this starts to get a whole bunch of dirt and debris built up around it, this is not going to float up. It's not going to do the job we need it to do. Put it back on when we're done. This little rubber gasket is going to create the vacuum seal so that when I turn my vacuum on, it will press down in place. It will actually create the vacuum suction. So again, we just want to check, make sure there aren't any breaks in it, make sure that this is in good condition. Lastly, when we are done cleaning this out for the day, give it a good rinse, drain it out completely, and you are going to go ahead and leave this open. We want to allow this to air out. We do not want this to remain closed with any sort of dirty water in it over time, otherwise it's really going to smell bad. Don't need that. So leave this open when you're done. I mentioned that we would drain the dirty tank. Right here is going to be where we drain that out. Right next to it, we have one of our fill ports for the clean tank. You can just back the machine up towards your source for clean water. Fill up right there. Press that down when you're done. We need to know how much clean water we have in the tank at any given time. Just go ahead and take a look at this indicator hose right here. This will tell you exactly how much you have in there while you're using it.
So that's where we're going to put our floor cleaner.
This is going to be where we put our floor cleaner.
Okay.
Yep. Down to here, we have our squeegee. This is held on with two twist off knobs right here. Pull this off to remove it. We want to make sure that we clean this off after each use. We also want to make sure that we have nice crisp edges right here. If we start to see this is wearing over time, you're going to start to get cracks in it. It's going to start to wear thin in certain spots. You can either ignore it and you're going to have to go around and dry twice as much to pick up everything this wasn't doing the first time, or we can go ahead, take these off, put new squeegee blades on, take care of it, and make sure we have the proper tool for the job. To take these off, just remove this bracket right here to remove your front blade. If you want to remove the other blade right here, you want to loosen these two knobs right here and right here. That will allow you to take your front blade off as well, and we'll be able to flip those or put new blades on altogether. When you're done, set this back in place, tighten down your end knobs right here to make sure it stays firmly secure, and then go ahead and you can put it right back on your machine right here. Tighten that down on each side. We're good to go. While we're back here, we're going to point out one additional filter that we will want to take a look at over time. This is particularly important if we're putting chemical in our clean tank. It's located right here. This is our solution filter. What this is doing, this is really filtering out a lot of the soap scum and any additional debris that might be in that solution tank or in the solution lines leading down to the brush deck. So every so often, you'll go ahead and loosen this. I'll do it just enough so you can see a little bit of water is coming out underneath. That will allow you to drain out everything that's in the clean tank. It'll also give you access to the little mesh filter inside, which you can give a quick little rinse to. Clean that off every so often. I would recommend at least once every week. In here, we have our battery compartment. We also have our other fill station for our clean tank. In case you guys are filling via bucket, you can fill up right here instead of your smaller opening towards the very back of the machine. Your batteries are also going to require distilled water. When you're done using the machine, you will want to open these up. You will want to take a look inside to see how much distilled water you have inside of the batteries. Check inside each one of these caps to check the individual cells. We want to make sure there's enough water in there so that it's covering the plates inside. And if you zoom in closer, you'll be able to see those brown plates right there. If that water gets too low, you're going to have your batteries burn up. You're going to need replacement batteries. By the same token, if you fill these up too much, they're going to overheat. There's going to be nowhere for that hot air to escape. And again, they're going to burn up. So keep it so that that water is just covering those plates. If you do that, again, once every week, once every 2 weeks, you'll be good to go. You won't have to worry about any issues with that. Your charger for your batteries located right in the back right here. You can just go ahead and plug it into the wall. And then finally, coming to the back here, we have our main operation for the machine. You can see we have a few buttons and switches on here. This is our speed control, turtle and the rabbit, faster or slower. We also have an hour meter. It's going to show how many hours the machine has been used for. We have our battery indicator right here. This is going to adjust how much pressure we want to put down on the floor. Realistically, you should not hardly ever need to use it at full pressure. You're just going to go through pads quicker, spend more money on that. So we would recommend somewhere between 2 and 1. Over here is going to control how much solution is going to come out on the floor when we're using the machine. Again, really will not need to use full solution flow at any point in time. You're going to spend more money on chemical. So we would recommend somewhere between, again, 2 and 1. To start the machine, we have one touch button right here, which will lower down the brush head up front. So if you want to get a look at it from right there, I'm going to press this button. Lowers down on the ground automatically. It'll be the same thing to raise it back up. To turn on our vacuum, we have our vacuum button right here. First, I'm going to lower down my squeegee, which is done with this knob right here. To lower down on the ground. To turn on the squeegee, hit that button. This is going to control movement of the machine as well as the spinning of the pads and the solution flow. Those pads will not spin, that solution will not come out unless I tell it to do so. When I release it, all of that will stop. If I need to go backwards, I want to raise up my squeegee so that I don't back over it, and I can push out this way to move backwards. When you're done scrubbing, go ahead and hit your one touch button, raise everything up and off the ground. And then hit your vacuum button to turn off the vacuum. I think that should just about cover it. Again, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to bring them up to Jennifer or myself. And I've gone and made some daily maintenance checklists for you guys as well. So it's gonna illustrate exactly what you need to do when you're done using the machine each day so that it looks and runs like it's brand new.